you say there's a lot of dross online. Yes, of course, that's true. However, history, it seems, is one of the most popular subjects that you can find online, particularly in shows like this or like your one. But truth is the thing that's pretty kind of, under attack.
Yes, I mean, the trouble is that the what's called postmodernism, if you like, right, let's try now and go back a stage. The astonishing edifice of success in every intellectual and practical sphere of the West in the last 500 years, since the Renaissance and the Reformation, is fundamentally a quest for truth and means of establishing it. The whole process of scientific experiment, the whole way in which, as historians, you learn to test evidence, the whole way in which, I mean, looking at a wildly different field, the way the Bible has been scrutinized, unlike the Quran, the way in which the Bible has been scrutinized by scholars for inconsistencies to try to tease apart how this thing is put together. That extraordinary quest for truth. So that's the foundation of modernity. Postmodernism is exactly what it says. It's an attempt at reacting against that, at replacing the notion that there's a thing called objectivity, or a truth outside yourself, with the notion that everything's inside yourself. It's all about feelings. Everything is relative. I had the most extraordinary experience last summer in one of the moments when we were all let out during, between the phases of lockdown. And I was at a house party in a very handsome house in Norfolk, and lots of agreeable and very intelligent people there. And one of them, you were asking about how a young person copes. One of them was a young man from very good family, in fact, very good family, fallen on slightly hard times. He had this wonderful phrase: his grandmother had never forgiven his father for being for allowing him to be born in a house that had a number. The hideous shame. And he'd been to Oxford, and he was a brilliant musician. And we got talking over breakfast, and the conversation was a bit like this. And I said I believed that there was truth and falsehood. He looked at me as though I'd been speaking Sanskrit. In this very fashionable education, the notion that there were things that were true and untrue, and you'd means to establish one or the other, had never, ever crossed his mind. Now, that's one of the reasons we are in the slough of despond, politically, intellectually, socially, that we are, because the quest for truth has been abandoned.
With that in mind, would you still suggest or recommend to young people that they even go to university?
I have a lot of doubts. It seems to me that in area after area, the postmodern has triumphed. I mean, the most obvious area, of course, is the vast conflict over what is meant by gender and transgender. The fact that the union of university and college teachers declare that it is a matter of policy, that merely by saying you are a woman, you are a woman. Whatever your chromosomes, whatever your, as it were, sexual characteristics. No, that is simply a lie. But you're institutionalizing a lie because you want to believe a lie. It's in other words, it is as absurd as believing literally in transubstantiation. That by the priest pronouncing the words hoc est corpus, here is the body, that miraculously the bread and wine actually become flesh and blood.
Yes.
It is preposterous, and it's area after area that you look at these absurd notions. So in other words, if you have universities that have essentially been taken over by teachers who believe this, by administrators who collapse before them, and by students who are prepared to use every means of coercion to enforce this, what is the point of somebody with an open, questioning mind going there? What is the point?
You've actually just said what I was about to say. All the young people I know, when I say young, I say between 18 and 25, who I would consider to be people of real character and questioning, are not going or have not gone. That is
It is terrible.
Well, it is. But you can no longer say, yes, of course you must go.
I agree completely. I mean, what's happening now, of course, again, let the cards be put on the table. There are very serious attempts now at creating new universities. The trouble is, where will you find the staff for these new universities? Unless we all just appoint ourselves, which is quite nice, but impractical. But, figures like Neil Ferguson of that distinction are openly talking about doing this. That's in America. There are people here. What I think has happened, the universities have become like the medieval church. They're immensely rich, they're privileged, they enjoy, at the moment at least formally, great prestige in society, but they become closed.
Yes.
Their minds have closed. Yeah. And it's time that the structure was blown apart. In other words, we need an academic reformation.
Yes.
We need an academic reformation followed by a new Enlightenment.